sharing. That's really encouraging. And for me, I think this just confirms my impression that in Destiny, you're already living in this in so many ways. The questions with who are you sent with and who are you sent to, it's already there. And maybe you haven't had the language for it, but it's there. And I see that too with your missional communities. A lot of you are part of missional communities. And missional communities are basically based on these two questions. Because you're a group of people who are sent together to a specific other group of people, right? Yes. So MCs are all about who are you sent with and who are you sent to. And then you find a way to reach out to those people. And I just want to share a short reflection about things you may be doing already, but that we can be even more aware of, that I think can help bring you up to a new level and take you even further in this. And that's also about thinking missionally, that we don't just do mission, but we're living missional lives. All of our life is an opportunity to show someone more about who Jesus is, to help someone follow Jesus. And I just want to give some examples, because I said in Matthew 28, Jesus says, as you are going, make disciples. And I just want to share some testimonies from my church in Norway. And one example is, let's imagine that you really enjoy playing volleyball, and you do it regularly, maybe every week with some friends. And you're also being part of an MC. So, and through that MC, you're really starting to get relationship with people who don't believe in Jesus or who hasn't committed to him as a disciple yet. And what would happen if you didn't just meet those people every time you have the missional community, but if you would meet them more regularly? If you had the chance to build relationship with them. And imagine that one day you're at the MC, you're meeting someone, talking to someone, and you realize that, oh, this person too really enjoys to play volleyball. Can you then see the link that one of your opportunities would be to say, I love volleyball too. We play every Thursday. Do you want to come join us? Right. Can we think about that as mission? Yeah. Can we see that that is missional? Yes. Yeah. And I think this is just challenging our creativity. It's about thinking about when we are going. What are the things we're already doing? Okay, I'm having a birthday party in 2 weeks. I'm meeting someone at my MC or someone in my work, and I realize, well, how about I invite this person to my birthday party? Great chance for them to get to know me more and get to know maybe other Christians who will be in my birthday party. Or I'm going to have dinner today anyway, so why don't I invite this person with me to have dinner? And these are some of the things we've been focusing on in my church in Norway. Thinking about what are the things we do anyway. Because often mission becomes such a burden because we think that we already have our full schedule and then we're going to add mission to the schedule. So we have to add a lot of new activities. But what are you actually doing already? Okay, the weather's great, I want to go to the beach. Can I invite 2 people that I met at my MC to go with me? It's not going to cost me much extra. My Christian friends are also going to be there. Together, maybe they can get to see the fellowship that we have between each other. So as we're going, we're making disciples. We're not doing anything extra. We're just living our normal life. But it's with an awareness. I mean, you redecorate your house or you're going to move. Okay, invite someone to come help you. That can be a missional, and that's very handy because then you'll have extra people to help you too. So I mean, living missionally can be such a pleasure sometimes. And we've been doing this a lot. My church is a lot of young families, and a lot of them have been redecorating. So they've invited people that they know from outside the church and people from the church. And we've been just all working together. Perfect for the person who is a young mother and they're going to move into a new house. They get a lot of help. We also get this great opportunity to just build relationships, be together. doesn't cost us anything extra. We would do it anyway. But it's all about the mindset. To see this not just as something I have to do or something I do, but to see everything as an opportunity, a possibility to really help new people see more and more who Jesus is. Okay? So does it make sense? Good?
Very good. Thank you, Liva. Thank you, Liva. Okay. Are you guys picking this up now? You see we're trying to communicate? Yeah. We're talking about a missional life, right? It's a lifestyle. It's not just an activity. It's every day of the week, whatever we do. Everything we do is an opportunity for mission, right? Playing volleyball, having a dinner, going to the beach, working, everything's a possibility, okay? And now, I want to spend some time focusing on a very specific, what are the practices we can use? What are the very concrete, specific ways we can share the gospel with somebody else? Up to now we're talking about kind of being together with people, but what are the things that really show someone? What are the things that communicate the gospel to someone who doesn't know Jesus? Now if I ask you, how do you share the gospel? Or how should one share the gospel? What's the first thing that comes into your head? Hopefully lots of different things now, but for me, whenever I heard that question before, I would always think, okay, it has to do with something I have to tell them. It has to do with my words, okay? To either share my testimony, to tell about Jesus, or go through the 4 steps or whatever, right? But I want us to try to broaden that picture out a bit more and find out there's other ways that are just as effective in sharing the gospel with people. Okay? 3 things I want to do. It's in the book. The first one. What is the second commandment? First commandment, to love the Lord your God with all your heart, all your soul. What's the second commandment? Love your neighbor as yourself. Okay. What does love look like? It has to look like something. You know Heidi Baker? Yeah. She says love looks like something, right? Love isn't just a feeling, it's something that's kind of swimming up there, you know. Love looks like something. It's tangible. We can touch it, taste it, feel it, see it, smell it. It is something, okay? We talk about love languages sometimes. Now what is the love language of loving your neighbor as yourself? What does that look like? We said before that God didn't call us to save the world, He called us to love the world, right? Yes. He called us to love our neighbor. He's going to save them, right? We're not going to save them. We can lead them. They can see Jesus through us, and Jesus can save them. Okay, so it's not up to me to save my neighbor. It's up to me to love my neighbor in such a way that my neighbor can meet God and receive the salvation from God. Okay? So let's talk a little bit now about what this love can look like. You said kindness. That's really good. Acts of kindness. What are the good things we can do to other people to let them see who God is? Let's take work first. At my workplace. How can the people that I work with experience God's love in my life? What can I do? Talk together, 2 and 2. Just dream of it. What are some practical things I can do at work to show God's goodness to my fellow workers? Okay, just talk together, 2 and 2. 2 minutes. The person you're next to, just talk about it now. Think, brainstorm. What can I do to show God's love to someone at work? Or at school. If you're not at work, if you're at school, say at school. But just, yeah. Okay? Let's share some ideas here. Anybody want to share something? What's a good way to show kindness, show love to someone in the workplace? Want to say something?
To be excellent in your work.
Other suggestions?
Respect and honoring.
It looks like free coffee.
I mean, I would guess that not everybody at your workplace respects and honors the other, right? There's probably some people that do the opposite. We can be different. We can show them the love of God by respecting them, honor them. Excellent. Other things?
I will call people by name.
Right. Good idea. Wow. Somebody sees me. Somebody knows he thinks enough about me, he uses my name. That's good. Other things?
I will cook and share food and work.
Oh, that's the way to my heart. Cook and share food. Someone brings me food. Oh, you love me, right? Really, that's perfect. That's great. I mean, if you're going to take, it's so simple. If I'm going to take some fruit to work, take a banana. Take 2 bananas and give one to a friend. Or, even better, shh. If you have 2 bananas, give one to the person you don't like, right? What are you doing that for, right? Let's show some God's love more.
I give them double meat. Yeah, come.
I love this. It's mine. Oh. You love me. You see? That's great. A great idea. A good practice. Always have one of these in your pocket, right? And remember, it's a good. Don't just give them to the guys you like, but the ones you don't like. Okay? Just show them there's something more there. Okay, you see this now. That by showing the goodness of God to other people, kindness, practical things, it does something. It creates something. People, it speaks to people, right? Either it's a gift. Some people have gifts as their love languages. Others have words as their love languages. Some people just like to have time. Just sit down and have a chat with somebody. How you doing? How's it going with your wife? I heard your child just graduated from school. How's it going with them? Your mom, here's your dad's sick. You know, can you pray for him? I mean, seeing them, knowing that, and spending time, right? This is just as important because this is the thing that's going to open up the doors for many. You see, when they realize that there's something here, that someone sees me, then they're open for the gospel. If you just come right away with, what would happen if you died tonight? Where would you go, right? I mean, nice approach for some people, but maybe for others, it's first to get to know them, right? Now listen, if I know that you care for me, if I know that you've been asking me about my family, if I know you brought me something, then I'll be able to receive that when you ask me the question, by the way, have you ever thought about, death or what's going to happen after we die? You see, if a friend asks me that, then I'll receive it. If a total stranger asks me, maybe, maybe not. Okay? Good. Okay. Another question. How can we show goodness and kindness in a practical way to people that are poor? People that are struggling, single moms, drug addicts, right? What's a good way now? I know you guys do this, but instead of just going and sharing the gospel, how do we show them the gospel? How do we show them gospel? Okay, another 2 minutes, talk to each other. Some practical ways we can help people that are struggling in life. Okay, poor people, single moms, drug addicts. Okay? Some good suggestions? What is somewhere we can show? Some ways we can show God's kindness to people who are struggling with life? Anybody want to share here?
You have this recently one of our SOD that had been go to jail. So what we did is we bring other people who has experienced that, and that people share testimony even to the family. And right now, that man is has been free.
Good. Other people. Over here? Anybody want to share? Anybody want to share something practical we can do for people that are poor? Over here, someone want to share?
To help the other people who's struggling, and we will just we can spend time and just to listen and just encourage them so that they can feel that they are loved.
Yes. Other things? Practical kindness?
Yeah.
To help them in their need.
Yeah.
We had this one house help. She had an accident, and then so we gave her a card, and then we gave some money for the hospitalization. And when she went home, we visited her and just listened to her and also prayed for her.
Wow, that's great. Good. Yes. More things? You're so shy. One more. Come on.
Maybe teach them how to earn money or teach them how to fish themselves. But not fishing, of course. Other, what do you call that, skills, maybe develop their skills. And also, because by doing that, you'll be able to help them be financially stable.
Fantastic. That's great. If you give them a fish to eat per day, teach them to fish. Yeah?
We have this park attendant down the building, so we are at the third floor of the building, and we have a cigarette vendor downstairs. So I give him small amount of money just to take care of the cars, so he knows all Destiny cars down the road during Sundays. And some of our members give, during his birthday, give something like money or gift for him. And if we have party, we give food downstairs. So that's what we do. That's what we do.
That's great. Oh, good. Thank you. And
Amazing. So good to hear.
And buy his cigarettes.
In our church, we decided about 10 years ago that we wanted to build a culture of goodness. Because we felt this is something really powerful. We want to help our people to be able to live in this every day. So we decided we were going to have a goodness festival or a kindness festival. So we set up 1 week in the spring where everyone in the church was going to get involved. We were going to go out and help people. We were going to paint houses and fix up people's places. We were going to fix cars, wash cars, go into people's yards and help them in the gardens. Lots of practical things. So we all got together. We went out in the newspaper and looked at people and said, anybody that needs help, especially the poor people, refugees, single moms, older people. What we saw is that there's so many people that before never really felt they could share the gospel, discover that God can use me too. There's lots of men in Norway that have a really hard time talking about their feelings or talking about Jesus. It's not natural for them to be able to stand and teach a Sunday school class or to go out and testify about Jesus because they feel it's hard for them. They're just shy or they're not good at talking, but they're great at doing things, right? Very practical. A lot of handymen in Norway that are used to fixing things, painting or repairing things, right? So all of a sudden they had a chance to share the gospel in a way that was natural for them. Right?
Yeah.
Do you see that? And they were so excited because they got to go out and help these single moms and then, fix the car or someone who needs it or fix the house or do something. All these very specific things they could do, and they understood that I'm showing the goodness of God. So we still do this every year. And now we have about 50, 60 places in Norway that do the same thing. It's become this, it's a movement of goodness now. And the whole point of spending 1 week on it is that it becomes part of our everyday life afterwards. We discover, and this is fun, I can do this, this is good, I want to do it the rest of my week also, okay? And again, the point is seeing that this is going to happen. It's our identity, it's our lifestyle. We can do it every day wherever we are, okay? Goodness is an important one. Another one. This is an explosion. It's the power of God. In what ways can we use the power of God to show other people who God is? The supernatural. Things that God can do that we can't do. 2 things specifically. One is healing. I don't know if you're used to using that here in the Philippines as a missional tool. But I mean, for us, for years, healing was something we did inside the church. We prayed for each other, right? And people came to us, we would pray for healing there. But we discovered that it's actually much more powerful out on the streets than it is in the church. Yeah. We discovered that more people get healed on the streets than they do in the church for some strange reason. It seems like people that didn't believe in Jesus often had a higher rate of healing than the ones who did believe in Jesus. We decided to go out on the streets with our staff in the Bible school. We put up a sign. We had a tent where we served coffee and talked to people. We said, heal. We pray for sick or diseases or whatever you have. And people would come by and we saw often with the Christians, they would say, no thanks, I'm a Christian. Right? The people that weren't Christian very often, oh, interesting. A lot of people have this, they believe there's a God of us. They don't know God, but they believe there's some power there. And it's so fun to watch people who don't believe in God experience it, right? You pray for them in Jesus' name, and you see their faces as they feel something going on. And they can't explain it because they don't think that God does that. But He just did it to me. How did that pain disappear, right? How did that headache just disappear like that? How did my leg just get longer? It doesn't make any sense to me. And people are shocked, right? But then that's the doorway to say, there is a God, and He loves you so much, He just came down and healed you, right? So many people who have come to faith, especially on the streets, especially on this bus I was telling you about, it happens after they get healed, physically healed, by the presence of the Holy Spirit, the name of Jesus. So this is an enormous tool we have for sharing the gospel. Okay, it's not just the words, but the actions also. Also the prophetic, sharing messages. You just talk about this today, right? That God gave you specific names of people that He wanted to share His love with. He's sending us to. And of course, that's a very powerful thing. When God leads us, it's not just our action, but God is actually leading us to people. There's a prophetic element that's very powerful there. We also talk a lot about sharing words from God for others, right? I've seen this many times when, looking at someone and saying, God, do you have a word for this person? Listening and coming up to them. And maybe it's someone you know, maybe it's someone you don't know. And say, I was just, I believe that God can speak to me. And He was just, as I was with Him now, I thought He was saying this to you. Can this have any meaning? Of course, a word of encouragement or building them up, right? But very often, those kind of things really touch somebody. I'm sure you've seen this many times before. These prophetic drawings you're using, these carrot cards you're talking about, fantastic, right? The prophetic gifting to be used to reach people with the love of God, the power of God, the presence of God, okay? Now you see, these things will all be useful for different people. Some people are going to love the prophetic. Some people are going to love doing practical kindness. Some people are going to love just sitting down and talking to people. See, we're all different. We're not the same. Okay, we're one body. We have very different ways of different giftings. If we could use all these giftings together, we'll see many more people reaching out and sharing the gospel where they are. Got that? The third one. That's our words. It's supposed to be a mouth here. not a hamburger. Artist is not one of my giftings, I'm afraid. But of course we know about it. We have to be able to share the gospel, to explain it to others also. And it's good to train people up, an easy way to explain the gospel. I was just talking to Topher at lunch. How do we explain the gospel here? Because I think that sometimes we think that this is the only way to do it, these 4 steps, right? But there might be other ways, depending on who you're talking to. Is the first thing we talk about sin? Or maybe the first thing we talk about is the love of God? Or is the first thing, I don't know. But we need to find a way to explain that there is a God who wants you to be his child, who wants to invite you to come back to him. And for those many people who have a hard time talking about it, the easiest way is just to tell them, you know what? This is what God means for me in my life. If you start talking about God, then of course you get into a discussion with someone else, well, I don't believe in this. But if you tell your own story, there's no way to speak against that. That's my story, and that's real for me, and I want you to know it. So how can we help our people to understand that I can share, even if I just got saved yesterday, I can share that story with somebody else, okay? You see, there's 3 different ways to share the gospel. The question is, how can we get each one of these disciples in our church to understand that every day, wherever I am, I can share the gospel with somebody else? The extra pack of gum, right? The smile. The good deeds. I'm out there with the projects and the poor people. The prophetic word. Just praying for someone. You know what? I see you're sick. Can I pray for you? I believe God can heal. Or sharing your testimony. You see, we have a whole, it's like a toolbox we have with us now. It's not just one tool, it's a whole toolbox. Which one can I use now? Which one is the most effective here? Which one do I feel, is the right for me now? See this? Very specific things. Let's go into groups now. And now we're in the phase of Agenda 1. We're not just evaluating. Now we're kind of dreaming and thinking about new possibilities. Okay? So let's dream a little bit now. Let's dream a little bit. In what ways can we see the gospel being spread in new ways in our church? Not just as projects, but individuals. I think about everyday life, okay? At work, at school, in the neighborhoods, wherever we are. What are some new practices, very specific practices we can see happening in our church? Okay? I think on the paper there it has 2 questions. The first one is, what do we already do? Next was, what possibilities do we see? Is that right? Let's go to the second question. We've already talked about what we do. Let's look at the second question now, which is, see that? Yeah. Yes. The question is then, can we see any further opportunities to make use of these practices? Okay? Let's look for new opportunities, new ideas. How can we use these 3 things in our church, our people's lives, to reach more with the gospel? Okay? Eva?
Steve just mentioned that we've moved into a new phase of the Agenda 1 process now. We started, you remember, by evaluating, trying to figure out where we are. And I said in that phase, it's really important to be honest. Now, we've already been doing some of this. We've been dreaming already together, but we're in the dream phase of the process now. And I think an important value here is to be creative and open. Because if we're like, the first thing we say, no, we can't do that, or no, I don't think that's possible, then we probably shoot down a lot of good ideas that as a group we could develop further. So just think about it as brainstorming. We don't need to kind of evaluate the ideas we come up with now. We just share a lot of ideas, because that helps us be creative and think outside the box. So we've evaluated, now we're dreaming, so we need to think differently about that. Okay?
So we go to our groupings. Again, up to 5 per group. Small groups lang para mabilis at makapag-share lahat. So you write down kung ano yung mga na-share If you need extra paper for your group, please raise your hand para Joseph, Joseph, pagtanan. Extra paper. Write them down and then we're gonna have reporting again in our clusters after this. So we have 20 minutes for this. So until 3 o'clock. 20 minutes per small group and then reporting in your clusters, the big group.